Let's change gear a little bit and go into the world of digital economy. Endeavour Nigeria has published a new report forecasts Africa's technology ecosystem is set for a period of exponential growth on the back of a strong market fundamentals and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The report, entitled "The Inflection Point: Africa's Digital Economy is Poised to Take Off." That report reviewed key events in Africa's technology ecosystem from the last few years, identified the patterns, and offers a roadmap to successfully navigating the opportunities that are emerging. Tosin Faniro-Dada is the Managing Director and CEO at Endeavour Nigeria, and she joins me now to discuss that new report. Thanks for coming through this evening, madam. Great to see you on the show. Let's get started. Is Africa's digital economy approaching what can be referred to as its S-curve, or what you call a rapid growth point?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, boss, and thank you for having me here. Africa's digital opportunity is absolutely approaching its S-curve, and we define this as a period of rapid, significant growth that would positively impact the continent's GDP, job creation, and overall economic outlook. We believe that Africa is the next growth frontier in digital, and we've barely scratched the surface of our potential. Our current digital economy has a size of $115 billion. This number is expected to grow to $712 billion by 2050. That's 6x the current value.
So, but what are the key drivers of this expected growth, and are these elements sustainable in the near to medium term?
Definitely. So we looked at a couple of drivers, and then we narrowed it down to three. The first is the growing economy. Africa is one of the fastest growing regions in the world today. Our GDP growth has pretty much tripled since 1990. Our CAGR from 2010 to 2019 is 4%. This is pretty much 2x Latin America and Europe. But beyond that, consumer spending is also growing faster than other regions. And we know that increasing consumer spend allows for more consumption of goods and services, resulting in higher economic activity and, by extension, GDP growth. We also have a young, digitally savvy population. By 2050, Africa is expected to be home to more than 1.6 billion working-age adults. This is going to be a third of the world's young people. And what that means is Africa would have more skilled and unskilled labor to contribute to the economy. But beyond that, Africa would also have more entrepreneurs. The third thing that we looked at is increasing digital penetration. Over 300 million people in Africa have gained access to the internet between 2010 and 2019. But beyond these three factors, we see that this growth is also accelerated by COVID-19 and the increasing supply of tech talent. The pandemic has definitely accelerated digitization by necessity for a lot of small businesses and consumers.
So it's going to come down to GDP growth, job creation, overall economic growth, inclusive growth, if you want to put it that way. So talk to me how these digital expectations of an exponential growth forecast will impact these variables that will help both the young and the adults and those who will be retiring as well. Also help us to diversify an economy across Africa that had been locked for many years and decades across the basic commodity exports and resource.
Absolutely. And just like you said, Wilson, you said Africa's digital economy is going to impact GDP. What we expect to see is higher GDP, more jobs, and a positive global recognition. We expect that 44 million jobs would be created if Africa's internet penetration reaches 75%. We also expect that by 2025, Africa would create 3 million jobs through its online marketplaces. Now, in terms of GDP, in the report, we show that for every 10% increase in mobile penetration, GDP per capita would increase by 2.5%. If you compare this to the per capita increase globally, it's much higher. Same thing for digitization. For every 10% increase in digitization, GDP per capita would increase by 1.9%, much higher than the global rates. But what we're also saying is that our entrepreneurs are rising to the challenge, working every day to digitize small businesses and to also help us through our challenges.
Interesting, again, when you look at the global economy right now, Are industry professionals like yourself worried about the level of uncertainties or what you call headwinds around the global economies, especially in developed economies? If you look at the West, the US and Europe, for example, in terms of inflation, in terms of food and fuel prices, in terms of this crisis, do you think the Africa digital economy or technology industry could be buffeted by these vulnerabilities?
Absolutely. So we think the African digital ecosystem is at its growth stage and it's scaling. And we like to say that Africa has always been a risky market to invest in. Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa have pretty much been in a recession in the past 5 years. We have high inflation rates, like you rightly said. Some of our rates are even double the US. But investors are aware of this and they've been investing. Last year alone, the African tech ecosystem raised over $5 billion. We're on track to surpass that this year. We've already raised over $2 billion, despite what's happening in the market. And so the way we like to see it is the opportunity is here. The continent has a youthful population. Investors want to diversify their portfolio. Economic downturn or not, it may slow down investment. We're not denying that. But we don't think it would completely dry out investment. That's not going to happen. Our growth goals are not unrealistic, and the data in the report backs this up.
Okay, on a final note, tell me about countries and regions where you expect this exponential growth in digital economies are expected. I'm sure you're flagging Nigeria first. So give me the second.
Absolutely. So we think it'll be concentrated in 4 countries: Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, and Egypt. And we picked these countries because of the data. We pretty much just follow the data. 50% of some of Africa's key digital indicators are in these 4 countries: mobile cellular subscriptions, Africa's GDP, professional developers, accelerators for startups. These countries also hold 32% of Africa's population. Kenya, for instance, is Africa's contributes to GDP the highest in terms of internet economy. So we think that these 4 countries are where the opportunity lies.
Well, thank you for your time tonight on the show. Tosin Faniro-Dada, the Managing Director and CEO at Endeavour Nigeria, talking to us about your latest report. Thank you and wish you all the best in the digital economy space, which will benefit all of us. Thank you so much.